Hi, I'm Laura Morgan with Remax Northwest.
And I'm Katie Colgan with Nexa Mortgage.
And today we're going to be talking with Courtney Balza from Country Financial, and she is an insurance broker. So we're going to talk about homeowners insurance and, the importance of having it, how you get it, she's going to answer all our questions. So go ahead and introduce yourself.
Okay. Hi, everyone. I'm Courtney Balza. I'm with Country Financial. We're an insurance company, and we are based out of the Midwest. So we have almost 100 years in business, and we love working with first-time homebuyers and homebuyers in general. We love helping you get your home insured. We actually were just ranked by NerdWallet as like the top 5 for home insurance in the country. So that's a really great thing. And we just take care of our clients. So
Okay. And you also offer like car insurance and other forms of insurance as well too, right?
we do. So obviously you hear it all the time. If you bundle your home with your auto, you can save money. So we do that. We do auto insurance, and we also do business insurance and life insurance.
Okay. How soon after making an offer on a house should someone be contacting you for an insurance binder? And what is an insurance binder?
Yeah, so typically we start off with a quote. My clients who rent, they'll usually contact me right away because they're really excited they have an offer on a home. So they'll contact me and say, I need a quote on this house we're buying. It closes on so and so date, and we just need a quote. And then once we get the quote, my mortgage company will send you an email to get a binder of insurance, which basically says insurance starts on this day when your home closes, and will list all of the information you need for your mortgage company, and we take care of it all for you.
Okay. So what happens if my client forgets to do that and, they're closing next week and now they're calling you? Is that too late?
It's definitely not too late. We can do it. I can do all that kind of stuff same day. So obviously, if you give us a little time, we can work it into our workload. But if it's urgent, we can put it on top of the workload and get it done.
Okay.
Courtney, do you have anything specific that clients should be asking you when, they're buying a house and they're considering insurance and they're not sure how much to get? How do you direct your clients and making sure that they really get the right type of insurance?
Yeah, so most homeowners insurance is pretty similar. So it's based on the home, the square footage of the home, the value of the home. So we're going to do a quote on the replacement cost of the home. And in the Seattle area, like your value of your home's a lot higher than your replacement cost. So your replacement cost could be half or even less of what your home is actually worth in this area. So just going over those numbers and making sure that you understand what the insurance cost is versus the value, the market value.
Okay. So that's how much it would cost to rebuild it on the same lot.
Correct.
Okay.
In construction.
Okay.
How,
Go ahead.
how about with a condo? So I did have a client that purchased a condo, and the HOA actually covered some of the walls and insurance.
Okay.
Now, they actually ended up there was a bunch of water damage right before they moved in. So they didn't really consider, well, I asked them to talk to, an insurance agent to see if maybe they needed any more insurance and what they would advise. And there ended up being water damage. They couldn't move in, and it was kind of a mess for them. What types of, I guess, can you get additional insurance on top of that walls and insurance, or what would you do if you were going to help someone that was in that situation?
Yeah, so that sounds like a unique situation because I deal with condo owners a lot, and I deal with associations. I even insure condo associations, so I kind of have seen both sides, and I live in a condo. So I I've seen it all with condos. I with the walls in coverage, typically a homeowner's policy for a condo only covers the walls in plus your personal property. So if the association is covering walls in, you're only covering your personal property. So I'm not really sure in that situation. You said that the association was covering the water damage, or they weren't?
Yeah, it was just interesting because they would only help them so much, right? So if they would have wanted for them to cover a place for them to stay and whatnot, they would have had to purchase additional insurance. And
Okay,
so I was
yeah.
just kind of
So,
curious what your thoughts were around that. Do you know, when you're dealing with that situation, are there any additional pieces that you could add in or types of coverage that would be helpful?
yeah, I mean, overall, condo policies are a lot cheaper than a normal homeowner's because you're not covering as much as a whole home. So I always give them the quote for just the walls in coverage, because
Okay.
you never know what could happen. Like you might as well be double covered with if the
Yeah.
HOA is going to cover some of it, and then you have to be responsible for some of it. It's not that much of a cost. I just finished a condo quote yesterday, and it was a total like $550 a year for the walls and coverage and your personal property, your liability, your loss of use, which is what you'd need if you need to go live somewhere else while they're fixing your home. So I always put the best coverages because we want to make sure you're covered in the event of a claim.
So it typically does homeowners insurance cover loss of use? Like on my
Yeah.
house, if my house burns down, I would be covered for a place to stay while I'm rebuilding?
Yeah, typically a homeowner's policy, you'll have your dwelling insured, and then your loss of use will be a percentage of that dwelling amount. So it's typically about 10% of whatever your insurance amount is on the home. So that's always going to be built into your policy. How much is in there just depends on what your policy looks like, but you're always going to have a little bit in there.
Are there things that I should add on or think about? Like, should people be thinking about special possessions or anything like that when they're, deciding on their insurance level? Or are there different levels of insurance I should think about?
Yeah, so with specialty items, you definitely want to make sure you have those itemized out and you know what you have. And certain items like jewelry can only be insured up to a certain amount. And then you have to list it separately on a schedule on an insurance policy. So like, let's say my wedding ring is worth over $3,000. So I have to list it if I want it covered. If I did not schedule it, and something happened to it, it wouldn't be covered.
Do you have to have it appraised to know how much to cover it for, or do you guess, or how do you do that?
If you've just purchased it, like you just got engaged, just got married, you can give me a sales receipt that says how much you purchased it for, and that suffices. If it's a little older and you don't have that original sales receipt, then we do want you to get an appraisal if it's worth over
Okay,
$3,000 with that.
grandma's
Most,
wedding ring or whatever.
yeah. Mhm.
Okay. What about, are there other items that people should think about?
Yeah, like fine artwork, firearms, those are certain things that aren't covered up to certain limits.
Okay.
All insurance companies are different, but we have our limits, and most are similar. Like $2,500 is usually a good gauge
Okay.
on whether you need to schedule it or not.
And do I have to schedule it? I think I'm getting too into the weeds here, aren't I? Like, I'm like, if I have multiple artworks, and do I just have like an art schedule, or do I have to name each one, and each one is separate and individually insured?
We would want you to name each one out. Yeah.
Or same with jewelry?
Jewelry, everything. We'd want you to name each one out that you want insured. It's not a blanket limit like the personal property limit.
Okay.
You do have personal property on your policy that is a percentage of your dwelling amount as well.
Okay.
And that covers all of your personal property. And it will cover, like if you have a set of diamond earrings that's worth $1,000, that will be covered. because it's under that $2,500 threshold.
Okay.
But if it gets over that threshold, that's when you need to talk about more details.
Okay. And then what about I want to get back toward, more general questions. What's the difference between working with you as a, are you an agent or a broker, or I'm not sure what you call someone who sells insurance?
Yeah, so I was going to talk about that because you called me a broker. I am not a broker. I'm not an insurance broker. Brokers can go to several different companies and get you quotes from all these different companies. I work for one company, Country Financial. We underwrite all of our policies. And so the difference between working with me and a broker is that I work directly for my company. I can directly call my underwriters and say, like, advocate for my clients and talk about specific things, where I've never been a broker, but they're working with 5 or 6 different companies, and there's just a lot that they're doing. So I don't know how in the details they get with their specific underwriters for all those companies, but that's the unique thing about us. I just have more control over the situations, over the policies, over what we can do. So
Okay. Or I mean, compared to something like PEMCO, where you don't even have a personal person, you just
some companies you don't, like Geico, Progressive. I mean, Progressive, sometimes you'll have a broker that does it for you, but Geico is one of those ones. And USAA, they don't have specific agents. You have to call the 1-800 number. So we do have the availability of a 1-800 number if one of us in the office here local is not available, but
okay.
you always have your agent, like, you
can have a personal relationship with your agent, which is nice.
Yeah.
And then let's see, we're getting is there anything else you think we should know, because we're getting close to our timing, we're timing out here.
I do have a couple questions for
you.
Good. How about if, I guess, insurance for natural disasters versus like your standard? How do you go about that type of coverage?
Yes. So certain natural disasters are covered and some aren't. Like flood insurance is not included on any homeowners policies. You have to get that separate, which I do flood insurance. So if there's a loan that requires you to get flood insurance in order to close, I can do that for you. It just won't be on your homeowners policy. It will be separate. And then there's earthquake, which people are very concerned about in the Northwest and down the whole West Coast. So we do offer earthquake insurance within our policies, and it's at a very affordable rate I've seen. It covers, if you don't have earthquake coverage and we do have that big earthquake, your home won't be able to get replaced. You'll be out of pocket on that. So it's definitely something to think about.
So how much more does it cost to add the earthquake insurance?
It really depends on the size of the home. So I couldn't give just like a blanket, this is how much it costs.
It's not a percentage or something like that.
No. Yeah.
Well, we'll have to talk about that, because I don't think I have earthquake insurance right now.
Okay. Well, yeah. And it's definitely something everyone should think about.
Another big topic I keep hearing about in the insurance world is it can be difficult with all the fires and whatnot that have been happening. We're not California, but there are areas that have been known to have some fires and whatnot. And so it could be really difficult to, get coverage. Have you ran into that, or what are you seeing?
So where I've run into it is that clients call me because they say, oh, my insurance company is dropping me because they're not covering this risk anymore. And Country can cover those risks. We will cover those risks. So we haven't had any blocks on the wildfires. That's not something that we're going to say no to. I have homes over in Leavenworth, Lake Chelan area that's where they have those big fires and people are worried about it. So I've been the one that people are calling because they look us up online and see how well we take care of our clients, how good we handle claims. We're always the first ones to respond and give checks to our clients when something happens. So I want to say 4 or 5 years ago, when the fires were going on over in Ellensburg area, Country was the first one there giving checks to their clients to fix their homes. So.
And I can't believe that insurance companies can actually drop their clients. I mean, that seems like that would be an issue.
Yeah.
It's really great
I
to know
mean-
that you have that service.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely about service. We'll also get non-renewal notices to clients for certain things, but if we can resolve them within, if it's like, oh, their roof needs to be looked at or something, we just need to get with the client, make sure that our service level is high so we can get there and talk to the client, make sure we get whatever is resolved that underwriting wants to know. I've seen some of those fall through the cracks with a broker, and then they'll call me recently and say, oh, I need this done because it didn't get done and I'm getting it on renewal, but hopefully you can help me, and I've been able to help.
So what about, this was a thing a few years ago, is really a big deal. I want to say like 10 years ago, maybe more, where there was like this database where any claim that had happened on a house in the past was in this database. And when you went to get a new insurance binder, sometimes you couldn't because there had been a water claim on that house, like, 5 years earlier or something. Is that still a problem? Are there some houses that are really hard to
Well,
insure?
I'm not sure. I feel like that would have always been a thing, but home claims, they do stay on your record for 5 years. So if you have a home claim, no matter whether it's your fault or not, it's going to go on your record because you're filing a claim.
But does it go on the house?
It does follow the house.
So when you go to sell that house, does that mean no new buyers are going to be able to buy it because they can't get insurance?
I'm sorry, it doesn't follow the house, it follows the person. So if this person filed a claim at that house, and they go buy another house, that claim is going to show up on their record from the previous house they lived at.
Okay, but that's kind of, the problem we were running into is we would have a transaction where it would fall apart because nobody would insure that house because there'd been a water claim there in the past. And I haven't heard much about it recently, so I think it probably got resolved. Like there was a while there where it was like a big panicky thing.
Yeah, no, I believe you're right. So when I go to do a new policy and a claim pops up for that address and it's not associated with that specific client, we're able to write it off because it wasn't them. It wasn't their claim. They weren't living there. So.
Okay. And then if I have had a claim, say, I had a claim in my current house, I sell my current house and I want to buy a new one, am I going to have a problem getting insurance for the new house?
You're not going to have it depends what company you choose. Some companies will say, no, we're not going to insure you with one claim. Some companies we can do it with one claim. I haven't had any issues with that. Okay. Sometimes we'll go up to 2, but it depends. We're pretty lenient on that, but once you get to 2 claims, we're looking at them, and
yeah,
a lot of companies aren't going to insure you. You're not going to be able to get it.
Because like I could imagine, my house burns down and rather than rebuild, I decide I'm going to sell the lot and I'm going to just buy a house that's already built. But that would be a big claim. So it's like,
yeah. It doesn't matter the size of the claim. It's just that there's a claim.
Okay.
So.
Does that increase your insurance as well? Just like, if you have a car and you get in a car accident, of course, that really can reflect in your bill. Does that happen with home insurance too?
It does. Yeah. So if you file a homeowner's claim, your rates will go up wherever you're at. So it does with us and it does with everybody else. So
okay, that's good to know.
So that's why we try to encourage people to have higher deductibles. Like you want to use homeowners insurance when you have that catastrophic huge claim that is going to break the bank. If you have just a small claim that might be worth $5,000, you think you have enough in savings to just cover that, I can encourage clients to do that
Okay,
instead
so
of filing a claim.
don't file a claim when someone steals my jacket out of my car.
Correct.
Okay.
So
Go ahead.
ways to save money then, Courtney, would be like to bundle. Do you guys have any other electives or maybe any other pointers on saving money with your insurance in general?
So yeah, bundling. If we look at the roof age is good for a discount. So like if you have a newer roof, you get a discount. So we want to see proof that the roof has been replaced as well. And usually people have documentation of that, or the previous owner would have it if you're in a new transaction. I just had one recently. She said, oh, the roof was replaced right before I moved in, and she was able to get that information from the previous owner. So that's just something usually the real estate agent and the previous owner can work that out and get it if we need it. And that can get you a discount too. Other discounts, I mean, those are the basic discounts. There's all kinds of add-ons. It's just, we can tailor a policy based on what you need, and different pay schedules can save money too. Typically, if you're buying your first home, it's going to be included in your mortgage, so they're going to pay it, and that's the preferred payment method. If you're paying monthly, it's going to be more if you don't have a mortgage or something, but yeah.
Okay.
What's the best way for people to get a hold of you, Courtney, if they're looking for an insurance agent?
The best way is just give our office a call. I have my office assistant here. She answers the phone between 8 and 4. So she'll gather information and give it to me or one of my other agent in the office, and we would work up a quote and get back in touch. So best way is to call.
Share the phone number?
Yeah, it's 425-951-2545.
Okay. Well, I think it's time to wrap it up because we've gone a little bit long. It's been really good talking to you, Courtney. I really appreciate you coming on and talking to us about all this, because it's an area of home buying that people don't really think about. It kind of, they suddenly as an afterthought are like, oh no, I have to get insurance. What do I do? So knowing that you're there and that you can help them is really great.
Yeah, we're always here. And I love doing it. So
okay.
Well, thank you so much. I appreciate both of you. Today was great. Great information.
And
thank you.
We'll see everybody next week. Thanks.